Hey everyone, how are we all? Welcome to a conversation to consider. I'll just pop you all up on Facebook so that we've got some chat going on. Oh, there we are, found me. Hello to anyone who is joining us. Chelsea, Kylie, how you doing? And let me get my guest presenter. I'll just make sure because she doesn't seem to be here. So today, guys, we are having an awesome chat about flow when it comes to being in clinic. So I have, let's find her. All right. So yeah, flow when being in clinic. So we're talking about flow in consultations. Who's ever felt the feeling of flow? Hey Chelsea, hey Danielle, hey Jasmine, hey Carly, hey Sam, nice to see you all. And anyone else who's hiding in behind the scenes like you guys usually do. And anyone who's watching the replay today, we've got beautiful Carla Wren joining us, and Carla and I have been having some discussions behind the scenes about, what it's like running our practices the way we do. And we'd noticed that there have been some things coming up for people around how to create flow in a consultation. How do we get a continuum of being able to talk to people? How do we even structure a consult that it's actually workable for us to get all of the information without being in total overwhelm? And how do we structure a consult, particularly at the end, to make sure that it's really clear for the clients that what's coming up next and why they're going to rebook. So, hey Kylie, hey Louise. So today, we're going to have a really good chat about what that looks like. And Carla, I've just sent you an email that should allow you to just click the button and come on through. Flow. Who's felt flow before? Tell me about your experience of flow. Now, I feel flow when I am flying my helicopter, albeit moments of flow, right? So there are some really good books about flow, to be honest, and I'm a bit of a flow addict. And some of the books are kind of define flow as a time where you don't have to actually think about what you're doing. It just comes out. Like there's an intuitive or innate wisdom when flow happens. Flow also is defined by the feeling that time disappears. So I am absolutely certain that if you've been in practice for a while, you've had those moments where you're just with a client and you are just in it, like your energies are feeding off one another, you're hearing what they're saying, they're hearing what you're saying, and all of a sudden time disappears and you're like, oh, right, we've got 2 minutes left, or we're, 10 minutes over time. And that flow starts to happen. The other one is that, you don't have to logically think about it. You can just be in that moment. And I feel that when I am flying a helicopter. Now, it also goes along with this idea of being consciously competent or unconsciously competent. So it all goes with the way that your brain is working at the time as well. So when I feel flow in a helicopter, I literally feel in flow, like my body and everything just goes with the helicopter. It's like I am, and time disappears. I don't even know how long has gone by, and I am there in the moment. I feel free. I feel like something else is guiding me in that. And I've absolutely felt it with clients before. Being able to, it's like, I don't know. I really wish that I could explain it in a beautiful scientific fashion like I used to, but at the moment I'm in a little bit of a woo-woo kind of scenario. So I'm loving when things go in that intuitive wisdom, that internal wisdom, it starts to just come out. Now, the thing about flow, so my husband feels it when he is riding his mountain bike down a thing. So tell me about when you feel it. So Louise, you felt last night was in flow. Beautiful. Jasmine, you feel it with your Bowen clients. Beautiful. Who else feels flow? And it could be anything. Like, I'm not saying it has to be in with your clients, but when have you experienced flow before? Oh, I've talked about it with somebody else, and they felt flow when they were with the humpbacks. No, it must be a different type of whale off the coast of WA, and they felt that time just didn't exist. They felt this amazing sense of being connected. And so when have you felt flow? I would love to see it in the comments so that we can have a little bit more of a chat about it. Yeah, so when have you felt flow? Anybody? So my hubby feels it when he is riding his mountain bike. And when he's riding his mountain bike, he initially, when he was learning to ride a mountain bike, flow didn't happen as easily, but there was moments of it, right? It was glimpses, and it was enough to keep him going the next week. It was enough to keep him going and kind of be hooked the next week. And so when he started to get into learning more about mountain biking, he started to bring in structures and bring in disciplines that allowed him to feel his way through the flow. So sometimes flow just doesn't come and hit us with a big bang and we go, yay, all of a sudden I'm in flow. And that happens with our clients too. Sometimes it takes a little bit of bringing in structures and bringing in disciplines to get the flow going. Who's ever done it with yoga or meditation? Initially, and I hear it all the time because and I've done it myself. Being in meditation, holy dooly, until I actually got to know which types of meditation worked for me, until I actually got to know what types of things happen, and yoga and things like that, until that started to happen for me, I had to bring in the discipline first, and then the flow started happening for little bits, and then bigger bits, and then bigger bits. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is what it's like. Keely, and playing music. I can't even fathom, Keely. I am so musically inept, but I imagine it's a similar kind of scenario, right? You get this little moment of la 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 la, and then it all disappears again. But it gets better and better and better because we bring in these systems or these disciplines to help that work, right? Beautiful, Keely. Great example. Christina, when I do flower essence readings. Oh, yes, I like that. Katie, when I have had time and space to relax, usually on a beach walk. Yeah, something about nature brings a lot of flow, doesn't it? So when it comes to flow in your clinic, in your consultations, we're still trying to get the beautiful Carla on board. I think she's watching, but check your inbox, Carla. There's a beautiful little link there. Yeah, so when it comes to creating flow in your consultations, it's a similar kind of thing. You might have not experienced it necessarily in a whole consultation, and definitely not with everybody. Everyone, every single one of your clients is different, and you are showing up different in every single different moment of the day. So it's definitely not going to be the same all the time. But the thing we can do is start to look at some of the systems and the disciplines that we can bring in to our practice. And there's a reason it's not called perfect. It's called practice. It's not like we have a perfect and we keep trying to be perfect. It's a practice. And every time, just like the music, Keely, we practice and we have more moments and longer moments of flow in with different clients. So if we bring in different disciplines and different little techniques and we play around with them and different structures, it enables this flexibility for flow that wasn't able to be there before. We can't be in flow all the time. It just wouldn't work. The way that our reality is structured, the way that society is structured, we can't just go with the flow all the time, particularly in business, because there is expectations from the client. There's expectations that we have of the client and the client has of us, and they have to be met within like a little bit of a framework. And the beauty of the reason that we're trying to get the extraordinary Carla online is she's had the experience of being in the functional medicine structure. And she got to really dive deep into that while she was doing her extra studies in functional medicine over in America. And I have had the experience of all of the most amazing structures, and I've been able to implement the ones that worked for me from when I was doing my degree up at Lismore at Southern Cross. So the thing about that is that we started talking and noticed there were some similarities. And one of my favorite things, which I wish Carla was on, come on, Carla, you can do it. Let's just send it out to the tech gremlins that it's time for them to go on holidays, and you can just join us in here. One of the things that we really, really love to do, and one of the things that is one of Carla's favorite things to do as well, that she shares in her extraordinary workshop and her work in Vita Mosaic, is timeline work. Timelines, and we think about it as this throwaway thing, oh yeah, timelines, whatever. But there is some really cool structures that you can put within timelines that allow a flow of conversation and a flow of information to come in from your client, and a flow of information to come out from you on both physical, mental, emotional, and then, because they're already in the mode of it, set them up for not only timelines from the past, but timelines looking forward. So we're going to do one more little, we're going to send one more little invite to Carla just to see if she can join us. Before I dive a bit deeper into it, because I really love talking to Carla. She's such a wealth of knowledge, and yeah, we love talking about being in practice as a clinician, and the wonderful yumminess of business life. You know, all the yummy things that go with seeing lots of clients. We get to really vibe on, and I would really love to have this conversation with you guys in front of you. All right, so nope, still not there. Oh, a download issue. She's nearly here. Okay, cool. So who's used timelines in practice before? If you want to write in the chat box, if you've used timelines before, I love them. I really do. Have you ever written a timeline for yourself? Like I've used it even with my son when we've talked about when things occur for us over a period of time. We often talk about, when was the first time you felt like that? When was the first time that you had that particular food? When was the first time, you know, there's some really interesting things that happen even when we start to think about our past. And it's an amazing tool to be able to project ourselves into patterns that we might have created in the past. And even that having a structure of timelines to have a conversation, it allows for a much more logical kind of sequence of being able to put together a story. Louise says, yes, I've used the timelines and love them. Katie, I've used them to show clients how they got to where they are now. Yeah, totally. Danielle, I write a timeline for patients with what they can expect in the future and what order we're going to deal with things. Totally, right? Not only can we see things in the past, but we can also project things into the future. Dan, that's a perfect example of other ways that you can extend the use of a timeline. It's not just the basic, but setting people up for an expectation of what they can look forward to is probably one of the easiest ways to engage people in coming back the next time, because then they've got something to look forward to. Our brains are really driven by positive anticipation. That's the psychological term. If you wanted to look up PubMed on positive anticipation, you'll notice that there is heaps of information about how we're actually driven as human beings to bring in the things that we are looking forward to. It's also really useful in depression, bringing down your cortisol, anxiety, stress, all these other things as well. So yeah, it's an amazing tool to have positive anticipation for people to go, okay, actually, this is what I have to look forward to when it comes to seeing this practitioner, and I'm going to be able to move forward and see them next time because I know what's coming up, or I have an expectation of what's coming up. All right, let's see if we can see Carla. Yes, no, she's not on here. Let's get back to, right, you guys can see me. All right, how interesting. Okay, so oh, the tech gremlins, I love them. Nope. Come on in, Carla. Cooey. You're here. Okay, cool. So press some buttons so that we can see you or hear you. Funny. Last week we had the beautiful Chanel with us, who joined us with ease, even with a bubba. And today we've got Carla joining us any moment. Come on in, Carla. All right. All right. Can you see a microphone? Gorgeous. Nope. All right. There is no other way currently to get you on screen, which is just interesting, isn't it? Okay. So I have done everything here that we can, gorgeous girl, to get you on, and I can't find you. No, we've got webcam, we've got and we can't, yes, it says you're on air, but we can't see you, gorgeous. My suggestion is to hop off and hop back on again. Unfortunately, because I can't see you. All right. So we need Chanel. Yeah, we need another tech guru. I agree completely, Kylie. So Carla, hop off, hop back on again, and I will see you in a sec. I'm going to start though, because we are going. Okay, so timelines. Let's get to it, people. All right. When you bring in a client, getting a timeline down is one thing, right? And we can all go, okay, let's go from 0 to hero where you are now, or to victim where you are now, and then let's see if we can take you from here to hero and what that looks like. So you can do something as simple as that. But essentially, as practitioners, what we're talking about is we all know that human bodies are created a lot earlier than when we arrived through the birth canal. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens pre-birth canal that we need to scope out and have a look at. So making sure that you're having conversations, pre-birth conversations about either your any client that you have, but particularly children, and seeing what the actual pregnancy was like, what the situations were like in pregnancy from a folate perspective, from a toxicity perspective, from a nutrient density perspective, from medications that mum was taking perspective. And so what we do, what I've done with my timelines, and I'd love to have a beautiful conversation in a second with Carla about what she does, but with my timelines, we have physical underneath the timeline. So we've got a big timeline on a sheet, and we have physical underneath it, and then we have mental and emotional above it. So there's a line down the center, and then we've got physical underneath, and we've got pre-zero. And we want to be making sure